Good morning. I thought I'd give a wrap up to my fantasy football season. It is week 18 in the NFL, and all my leagues are complete, thankfully. I know there's a couple rare leagues that are still pushing here for the last week of the season for their championship because they run two leg playoffs where they play 2 weeks instead of 1 week for their postseason. I did win one league this year. I'm really excited about that. I ran 9 leagues. This is absolutely the limit that I'm at, and I'm only at 9 because I had a buddy start 2 leagues in Yahoo that I wasn't planning on joining, and then there was a league at work that I wasn't planning on running in the first place, but everyone else wanted to do it, so I did it, and I'm not going to run that league anymore. I don't want to commission that. So I ran 5 leagues on ESPN and 4 leagues on Yahoo. I'll start on Yahoo because they make it nice and easy on their fantasy football screen to see where you finished for the year. ESPN does not do that. I have to go to individual teams and then sort by how I want to look at it. So I have the two new sort of dynasty league. I believe they're dynasty leagues. I have to go back and double check the information on those things. But in a 10 team league, here, no, 12 team league, I finished in third place, which I'm happy about. My team was all right, and I really had a team that should have been on the outside looking in. But I caught a couple breaks. I finished 10-5, but my points scored versus points against were like fairly even. I'm like -5 points on the year or on the regular season. So I'm happy with the third place finish. Like I was not going to make the championship game. Like there was a chance that I was going to, but I did not have the team. This is a very deep league, and I wasn't going to be able to do anything about that. Like my semifinal game was 87.6 versus 77.82, and normal scores are you need to bump 100 essentially to win the week. And if I had done that, my team the final week would have won the league. So I mean I'm close, and you get a little bump here and there, and I'll take third place. That's fine. I'll have to check the league standings to see what the keeper stats are in this one. I think this is a you keep one, you give away your first. You keep two, you give away your second. So it's like a glorified. Um, it's like a glorified redraft. I'm in a mini dynasty on ESPN that works very similar to that. My next one, I finished in fifth place. I finished, yes, I finished in fifth place out of 12 people here. This team did significantly better than the last team. I got into the playoffs on tiebreak over the seventh place team because I had the better record in the division. Um, 3-1 versus 2-2, but that's cool. I'm fine with that. I had a pretty solid team all year long, but I ran into the highest scoring team the first round of the playoffs, so that bumped me down to the fifth place game like immediately. And if I had made it past that first round, I would have crushed everybody the second round. Like I would have bettered anybody, including the team that beat me in the first round of the playoffs by like 11 points, by 5.14 points. This is a dynasty league here. This one I absolutely have to. It says this is a first year dynasty league with individual defensive players. I'm going to keep 20. Okay, so the other league must be a redraft. If I find out that other league is a redraft, I might just tell my friend, "Hey, yeah, I'm not going to join back in." 9 9 is the limit, and I did it as a favor, but I'm going to cut it to 8. And I may yet cut it to 7. It just depends on what happens on ESPN. I've got too many good friends that I'm playing with on ESPN. So I got to keep 20 out of this 29, and I can't wait to see what's going to be available for me. Like, this is going to be awesome. I like deep leagues like this. And, yeah. Plus, the IDP thing is you can find good value on defense. I don't need the guy that's going to pick off 7 passes in a year. I prefer the guy that's going to get 13 tackles a week each and every week. Because why? Because the tackle points don't outskew, or the interception points or the forced turnover points don't outskew the tackles. So I can have, a defensive lineman that comes in and you're going to get a number of tackles there, but he doesn't get any sacks. That's fine. I'm not going to miss points because of that. But this team is an interesting team. I like it. I finished 5-5, but I've got some good solid parts in here. I mean, whenever you have Jalen Hurts as your starting quarterback, it's going to be awesome. Oh, yeah, and this is a 2 QB league, so I've got to worry about young quarterbacks, potential quarterbacks. Like, that's essentially what I'm going to draft next year. I'm going to draft whoever I can find that's going to be a starting quarterback next year. And I may need to run with 3 quarterbacks on my team because those offensive players get really shallow really quick. So I gotta figure out what the running backs are doing next year as well. Okay, done with that. My next league is I believe this is a 20-man. This is the one that's always rough on me every year. This is a 20-man, and I finished in 10th place, a game back of 8th place. If I had won the final week of the regular season, I would have made the playoffs. God damn, I would have made the playoffs. That son of a... Okay. So, I didn't go anywhere. My final standing is 5th place. I don't have any points to say, well, I coulda, shoulda, woulda done stuff. Oh, good lord, this is one of those leagues that is playing this last week of the year. Damn, that sucks. I mean, it's a redraft, so it's okay, because you can pick up all the backup players that are actually going to play this week. But, oh well. This is a league I've won 2 out of the last 3 years. But I'm always good enough to be right on the edge of the playoffs. The first year in 2019, I finished 8th. The second year in, I finished 1st. The third year in 2021, I finished 11th. The last year, I finished 1st. So I've won this league 2 out of the 4 years I've been in it. And I've been right on the edge of the playoffs. 8th, 10th, and 11th. Or 8th, 11th, and 10th. Right on the edge of the playoffs. And this is a league that's been going on for 10 years now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes. This is year 10 here. And this guy that's won, assuming he hasn't changed his name, finished 3rd in 2020. And now he won. So, good for him. So, this is one I always like to hold on. 20 teams. It also has IDP. So, I have to worry the final week of the season, or I have to worry during the season, who's that third wide receiver? That's how I lucked into Noah Brown. That's why I have to roster Cordell Patterson. This is why I have to hope that Jalen Tolbert is going to get 3 targets this week. This is a very thin league. I have to worry about is Zach Cunningham playing for the Eagles this week. Who are the starting corners for Buffalo? Like, it's a very difficult league, but it's always one that's very satisfying because when you lose, you're like, man, what could I have done better? But when you win, it is so much more satisfying than anything but my money leagues. This is probably my most satisfying free league, to be honest. Because, I mean, I have Trevor Lawrence and Justin Jefferson, Dameon Pierce, fell off the face of the earth for me, but that's fine. I will take a 10th place finish in this league because I know I was good enough to make it in the playoffs. Now, this 8-team league, I'm kind of uncertain about. This one started out like a 12-team league, and then it just slowly fell off the face of the earth. I believe we are down to 8 people. I used to go to high school with one of the guys. He's got his mom in the league, and he's got a mutual acquaintance of ours from high school. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 other people in the league. I don't know. And he doesn't have history set up on this league. But yeah, that's 1, 2, 3 that he removed from last year. Someone else deleted themselves, so we went from 12 down to 8 this year. But nobody really tried. Like, all these transactions are essentially my team for the month of December. Like, there's a couple here and a couple there. But, like, I don't know. I'll be in it next year if he invites me. It's his mom, the only other one that tries in that league. Like, I'll be in it next year if he invites me, but I'm not going to. It's not something I'm looking forward to doing. So yes, I'm happy that I won a league, but it's just this was not a highly competitive 8-team league. So on to ESPN. The little league that I commish at work, I'm not going to commish next year. We had a lot of people drop out after the first year, and it just let me see. No, we ran 2 years already, and after the second year, I really wasn't going to do it because I didn't want to deal with things. We moved a guy. We started with 12, and one of the guys left. 2 of the guys left. And then last year we went down to 10, and then one of the guys didn't work there anymore, and then nobody wanted him to join because he wasn't at work, so they couldn't talk smack to him. And I just don't like. I like people playing, but I don't like people mad at me. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to be a commissioner. So I've already told people here I will not run this league. I said that at the start of this year, but people were like, "Oh yeah, we'll help you enforce getting people paid." And I'm like, "That's cool." But this year, I'm not going to. In 2024, I'm not going to commission this league. I'm going to let people know if they want it, I will make them commissioner. And if they say no, I will say I will not activate the league. I will activate the league and make them commissioner and let them deal with it. But this league, I finished 8th out of 10. Just out of the playoffs. Not too worried about that. It's a fun little league on the side, but I like it to talk to people. I don't like it to run it or try and get money or to pay out people. I've actually got to pay out that league on Monday because I got all the money except from 2 people. So, fine. I am now moving over to the Family League. 12 people. I finished just on the outside of this league. I finished in 6th place in the regular season. I finished in 7th place at the end. I ran into a buzzsaw. The best scoring team in the league happened to be the 3rd seed because of games won instead of the 1st or 2nd seed. It was a mess. It was absolutely a mess, and I don't know. That one, I'm kind of sad because I wanted to help my brother out more, and I didn't. I dropped the ball in the middle of the playoffs and should have said, okay, pick up here, 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 and here. And it would have been fine. And he might have made the championship game, which would have been awesome. Well, I mean, with my assistance, he does not pay enough attention to it. But it's fun helping him try and get his team better because he wants to be a part of it all. He wants to be able to talk to people. He wants to be able to do things. I, I, I think he just wants to be a part of it, like I said. But that league's always fun. I always like doing the family thing. I always have a good time talking to my cousins about the football stuff. And then figuring out who's the better coin flip. My rule of thumb, James, is that I always take the higher floor than the higher ceiling. Yes, your offense is about to go off. But are you going to get the targets necessary? Yes or no? Is your team really weak, but you're the number one option? Fuck it, I'm going to take that guy instead because you're the number one option. Your floor is really high. Your ceiling is really low. Your floor is really high. As opposed to like the number two guy on a very big offense. Your ceiling is really high, but your ceiling could be phenomenally low, or your floor could be low. So, coin flip, high floor. Now, in this big money league, I finished... Did I really finish 5th place in this league? I finished 5th place in this league. Alright, cool. Yeah, this is one of those tough leagues where Jonathan Taylor was out a chunk of the year. 1, 2, 3, 4, first 4 games. Missed 3 at the back end of the year, including the first round of the playoffs, where I really fucking needed him. In the worst way possible, I needed him in that league. This was... Let's see, where was it? Oh, even if I had him, I ran into the buzzsaw of the guy that happened to score 140 plus points every week. And in that league, if you score 130 plus every week, you're good. And if you score 140 plus, you're expected to win. This guy scored 141, 189, 157 because all his guys went off all week long. So, good for him. I'm happy to finish 5th because this is always an extremely competitive league. It's not a matter of it being deep. It's a matter of everyone pays attention to the waiver wire. So it churns a lot. And if you don't get that guy on waivers, you need to have that hand ready for Sunday morning when they announce your actives and inactives. Because you'll never get to it. It's extremely tough to get to it. But that's fine. 5th place over there. Reopen, close tab. Ha! Okay, so in that family league, that was a 12-team league. In this league, it's a 14-team league. That's an unusual number for fantasy football. Not really typical. They like to keep it pretty, like 8, 10, 12, or 16. That way you can divide things evenly. There's a little dynasty league I'm in with family and friends and people that family knows. There's 10 of us in that league. I made the playoffs as the number 2 seed. I won the second round of the playoffs after I got a bye. And then I fell to an uncle in the final. This league is pretty fun. I like it. You can keep one player at each position at the cost of your first, second, third, however many keepers that you're keeping around. So if I keep one quarterback, first round pick. If I keep one running back, first round pick. If I keep one quarterback and one running back, that's a first and second. Doesn't matter which way. So this is always a fun league. I finished at 500 in the regular season, not at 500. I finished 9-5 in the regular season, as opposed to last year where I finished 500 and then just blitzed everybody in the playoffs. So this league, I finished second, first, and this year now second, which is pretty cool. I'm pretty happy about this league because I found out who I needed to draft at the beginning and who I needed to take at the intro draft. Now I can afford to take swings and misses on people. This is a league where I've got Jalen Hurts, Derrick Henry, Jahmyr Gibbs, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Sam Laporta, and then like Jerome Ford, Deontay Johnson, T.J. Hawkinson, Drake London, and then Gus Edwards. I had Tank Dell and Anthony Richardson this year on the bench. Like, I like my team. And I know, James, you are going to listen to this. I'm going to give you a heads up. I'm keeping 3 people this year. I'm going to keep Jalen Hurts, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Justin Jefferson. And then I want you to figure out if I'm going to keep Sam Laporta for my 4th round pick or if I'm going to give him up and try and snag a tight end later. We'll see what happens. 81 receptions, 860 yards, 9 touchdowns on 113 targets. Will Jared Goff keep that up and make him the number 1 tight end again next year? Who knows? We'll see what happens. We'll see if Kittle comes back or Kelsey comes back. Hawkinson is probably going to be out for the year. ACL and MCL tear right around Christmas. Means you're done all of next year and you're practicing for 2025. So, James, I'm throwing it down. Try and stop me in this league. And then my 9th and final one. This is the Dynasty League at work. This is one I took over, threw all the people out, didn't do very well last year. Came back, still didn't do very well this year. But that's fine. The fun of this is talking players and prospects with teams here. I've got Joe Mixon and Aaron Jones, who are going to age out. I'm very lucky that I got Devin Singletary, who seemed to pick it back up after he moved to Houston. But, like, Dameon Pierce is there, and he's really good. I've got Mike Evans and Jordan Addison starting at wide receiver. I've got Jacoby Myers and Christian Kirk, T. Higgins on my bench. I have Taysom Hill here. Nick Chubb is on IR. Like, I've got good people. Dalton Schultz at tight end, Pat Freiermuth and Greg Dulcich. Like, I could have let Dulcich go. If I had known that Dulcich was going to have the terrible year that he did, I would have moved him because I had a chance to get background picks to get the defenses and kickers that I wanted. I mean, it worked out. I got Jake Elliott, which, sweet. I had the Chiefs defense and the Dolphins defense for the chunk of the year, and then the Steelers when I had a bye week. Like, I've got Brian Robinson as a backup running back on this team. Like, this year, I guess I'm just going to take the best running back available when there. Like, Chubb's going to come off the IR. I'm going to drop all 3 of my defenses and the kicker. And there's a chance that I'm going to drop Samaje Perine. He just didn't do it for me. Like, I had a chance to move Perine and Dulcich, but because I'm a stupid Broncos homer, I didn't do that. I've also got to figure out what to do about Russell Wilson. I may just cut him. He finished 11th at quarterback, and Geno Smith finished 19th at quarterback. I may take a look at which quarterbacks are where and try and swing a trade for it. That's what I should have done at the start of this year. Didn't do that. That was a huge mistake. I've got to talk to the guy that I believe won the league. Let's look at this. Doing this live. I had everything prepped for this, and I was just going to roll through it. He's got the number 1 pick, or he won the league. I need to see who's available at the top of the draft, and then wager that against will he allow one of his players to go. I think the answer is probably not. Like, I've got Geno Smith that I'm not really thrilled about. Russell Wilson, like, has imploded the last 2 years. Nobody was nobody was touching him. But like I got to see who's who's gonna be out there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, see, who's not W? That's Daryl. You lucky person. Yeah, like I don't trust Russell Wilson to be a top 10 quarterback next year. At all. I need to talk to CD and see if he's going to move me one of his players, because I'd rather have Justin Fields start for my team than Geno Smith. And actually, I might start talking trade with him on Monday. See if I can pry Justin Fields off of him, and then take a quarterback at this start of the second round. No, I don't think I've got a second round pick this year. I believe I still owe, fingers crossed, a second round pick because because there was a trade I made. It was Sky Moore, a 2023 second round pick, and a 2024 second round pick for Joe Mixon, Christian Kirk, and Dalton Schultz, which is cool. All those guys performed really well for me, except Christian Kirk performed really well from the bench when the people in my starting lineup didn't perform. So that was a rough year this year. So I think I've got a good team. Not a great team. I think I've got a good team. Christian Kirk was top 15 wide receiver for the first half of the year. Jacoby Myers was like sopping up the targets because everybody was focused on Devontae Adams. Yeah, like Singletary I might drop. P. Ryan I might drop. Dulcich I might drop. Freiermuth. Like, I might try and find out who's got value on the back end of my team for some draft picks. And I've got to see where the draft picks line up, because I need... I always like to wheel and deal. And I know I do bad trades. And I'll go and put out bad trades, and then I'll go reassess, and I'll either A, stop because I'm dumb, or B, go back and just re-offer trades. Or I'll... didn't say that right. Or I will go back, ask who they want from my team, and then see if there's a way that I can make things work. When there are draft picks involved, it makes things easier, because then you can value how you value and how they value the future are two different things. I can offer compensation in lieu of player performance, or vice versa. Maybe there's somebody on the waiver wire that I know is going to make it through till the very end. Pick them up on the cheap instead of wasting a draft pick on them. And therefore, I can trade a good player to get a potentially better player. It's just, there's a whole mess of things that go into it. I like doing that. I really found out that I'm better at that in the dynasty leagues that I'm in than I'm in the redraft leagues. So, James, Robert, I'm sorry for screwing you guys over with trade offers. So that's it for fantasy football for the year. I'm done. I'm going to enjoy the playoffs. I might watch more football now that I'm not actually having to worry about football teams every week. And then I'll get ready for 2024. That'll be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see who gets drafted, and then start mocking out which rookies are going to get taken absurdly high and which ones I can wait on that are going to find themselves in good playing position. Like, who does Minnesota have for their starting tight end? Hell, who does Minnesota have for their starting quarterback, for that matter? Jordan Addison's value may take a hit for a year or two because you don't have Kirk Cousins starting for you. There's talk that Kirk Cousins goes elsewhere. So, we'll see what happens. Just thought I'd put one out. Everyone, have a happy new year. Thank you very much.